Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Jackson County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, September 19th of 2023. I'd like to welcome you all here, and with us today, Don, Nin, and myself are your county supervisors. Lisa here from the auditor's office, our auditor, and Bjorn from IT. Luann, our executive assistants in the background, and Mary is here from the newspaper. So with that, first on our agenda is Mr. Todd Keeney, our county engineer. Is he in there? Was he in there?
Jeopardy here.
I like you.
You watch it on a regular.
I watch it every day.
That's
I
right.
tape it.
You go and skip.
Last 3 or 4. We usually start at maybe at 9, but you know.
It's a quick pledge.
Good morning, Todd.
Morning.
And Todd Keeney, our county engineer, has joined us for his business.
Okay, so looks like the first item is a discussion about the request to change the signage at 2 Green Island crossings to stop control. So what's out there now is the cross buck with the yield signs.
For the railroad, didn't
Yes,
Yes.
though that's their requirement is to have those signs up, the cross bucks and the yield sign. That's the basic for passively controlled. So like no active, gates or mast arms or whatever.
Are we talking on the gravel or on the hard surface?
It's Green Island. Looks like it's gravel to me.
So it'd be the first one coming from the north going south.
The one where there's the jog right there.
Yeah, the corner.
And then there's the one where farther south where it angles down. So the question is, they're requesting for safety purposes that the yield signs be changed to stop signs. So basically, obviously that's going to require a full stop of every vehicle that approaches a crossing. They said that they would pay for the material on the sign and the labor to replace the sign. So basically the yield sign would be taken down and the stop sign would replace it. So the MUTCD says that if you do that, then you really need to have an engineering study or reason to do it. So one would be among the factors considered to be like the line of sight for approaching traffic. Do they have enough line of sight? A yield sign, you're supposed to be able to see in both directions, have enough line of sight to make a decision whether I need to stop or not, and then proceed through the crossing. So if that line of sight isn't there based on the engineering study, then the next step would be to put up the stop sign, because then you're stopping and then it really reduces your line of sight that you need to make a decision whether you can make the crossing. So it's on the agenda. So really all I need to know is, do you want to consider this? If you do, then we need to go out and do it.
Is there a reason? I mean, these yield signs have been up for years. I mean, what's the reasoning, or are they just deciding they want stop signs?
I'm guessing the railroad's perspective is if they can get traffic to stop, their crossing could be is safer for their trains, for everybody, basically. If we want to consider this, they're requesting it because obviously the stop sign has to be by your resolution. So they can't just put up a stop sign. So my question to the board is, do you want us to do an engineering study to see if it's warranted?
Does your engineer study involve you driving out and looking at it?
Yes.
That is the study though, right? I mean, to see the vision and the distance, and I mean, that changes over 5 years, if the brush and the trees and overgrowth is not
Crops, everything,
maintained.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we would probably try and do it while the crops are in, but we would go out with our sight rods basically and see what we have for line of sight distance at all both approach directions at both intersections. So all four lanes.
It's the 2 right next to 52, I'm guessing. So they're right off of the main road or off of Highway 52.
Yeah, so the original question is, do you want us to
Okay.
go through the engineering study to
Are
see
they
if
gonna
that is
reimburse us for that?
what?
At their expense?
The engineering study would not be at their expense.
Why?
Well, they didn't offer to pay for it for one, but I I could approach them with that, and if you said, well, if they're willing to pay for our engineering study to see if they're warranted, the board would consider going through the study. If not, then they're good with. I mean, the other thing we could do, we could look at the crash history there. I'm a guess there's no crash history. If there's crash history, then it would be probably be good for the board to just say, yeah, if there's crash history, we should have the study done. So that's one thing I didn't check was the crash history, but we could look at that. I'm guessing there isn't any, but
I would approach it that way, I think, is to say, yeah, we'd be willing to go out and give a study if you're willing to compensate. I don't know, whatever you think it takes, half a day or. I'm just trying to think. Like 395th. I don't know if there's stop signs there, but that's a heavily traveled road north of town there. It goes up. And it crosses the tracks right at Spruce Creek.
Mhm. There's no stop sign.
I just, I don't know that there is.
There's not even ones in there.
is it a,
Sorry.
Is there?
if they have active gate arms, then it would be an issue.
No, this one. It does.
That was good.
Well, I think there's always been a gate there. Yeah, I would approach it that way.
All right, so I'll reach out to them. If they're willing to pay for it, then we'll go ahead and do the study. If not, then I'll just let you know and then we can move on from there. Okay, Becky's not here. Can we maybe go to item 3? Because I think
Sure.
Becky should be in here for item 2.
When do you wanna see if she wants to come down, please?
Yeah, we can skip this.
So item 3 is Class D field entrance.
I'm here now. Well, Todd's part of it. He said you need to be there for that. Okay, thanks.
Sight distance in either direction is good. Don't really have any other issue with it.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second to approve the entrance permit for Kevin Skirk in Fairfield Township, section 33, as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Well, we're waiting, do we want to talk a little bit about that email Jaden sent out yesterday and about that tube that's going in?
So I talked to him again, I emailed him and then I talked to him again this morning about it. So we're putting in the same length culvert. And what I told him, I said, call him back, give him the contractor's phone number. And between the property owner and the contractor, if the contractor needs only 10 feet of foot fence removed or no fence at one end, we're fine with that. But we just don't want the fence obstructing the contractor's work. So if this guy can work out with the contractor, what exactly he needs to be removed, so be it. But we don't want this guy's fence holding up the contractor's work.
Normal procedures, I take it, and so, I mean, is it the fence is the issue or the harvest season that he can't get through?
Those are cows, it almost look.
I just think he doesn't want to take his fence down.
Oh, well. We need the room to operate and to maintain, if that's standard procedure, yeah, I don't have an issue. Any of that.
The other thing we were gonna check is
I appreciate
exactly
that.
if that is within the right of way or not. If it's not within the right of way, we need to be a little more congenial with our discussions.
I see that our other fence issue looks like it was resolved in a calm, timely
Took
manner.
it down himself.
Yeah.
All we had to say is, hey, we're coming to take it down. We're gonna put them right here at the bottom of the slope, like it's gonna happen, and
And
then
one post in there, yeah, that's real close to the road.
that's it.
Yeah.
Take that out by hand.
Yeah, well. I'm guessing that's why it didn't come out by hand. The rest of it, I think it's in the part of the driveway, so it's probably in the rock or something.
Oh. It won't, a couple times with the wing post.
I was gonna say, Wade hits it once.
So, okay,
You're up.
Becky, would you like to come forward? You want to sit in the
If you would
back?
like me to, I don't know, I'm just here for support, I guess.
I would like you to.
Let me Jess. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I got official notice, retirement. We can use that name, right?
Mhm.
For Roger. So we're talking about doing his posting. And Becky and I have kind of been going back and forth with the posting and whether we would post internally first or post to external and internal. So to be safe and for full transparency, we decided we were gonna post it for everybody and then encourage people within the department to apply. I don't want people within the department that are interested in the job being deterred or feeling like, well, if they're posting to the public, they're not interested in any existing secondary road department employees, and that's not the case at all. It's just gives full transparency in case there's an issue. Somebody claims why we didn't post it, we'll just post it. But I want to make sure that the existing employees within the department that are interested definitely apply. So we have a draft of it now. I guess we're just talking about.
Need to establish a salary.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start for the new position? The current year budgeted was 80,766, I believe. I don't know, Todd, if you had a recommendation, if you were looking for a range that you want to work within for hiring.
So where are our leads at compared to? I guess, do you even consider other
Their wage is
counties?
set by the union. The leads are, everybody else is set by the union.
Yeah,
And
Well, I looked at,
They're all the same with the stipend.
with 65 cents a week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily compare them to the leads anyway. I would compare them to
other
other
counties.
road superintendents. Currently Roger's salary ranks 20th. And if you look at, I don't know, right, wrong, or different other metrics for I know years ago, boards would look at your position based on population.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, population wise, we're at 36th. But that's included in incorporated areas. If you look at just unincorporated, Jackson County is one of the bigger unincorporated populations, which that's really who we predominantly serve. So I don't think the salary at 20th is really that far off. I don't think it's low necessarily based on what I initially.
Well, it depends. When you say 20th to 35th, there could be $500 difference in it,
There's just a lot of variables that you can look at per position.
I would say with Roger being in that position now, longevity has a role in that also.
Where do we rank with unincorporated? Is there a ranking on that?
Yeah, the thing I said, I'd have to go through here and look here quick.
No.
I mean, it's gonna depend on qualifications also, obviously.
Well, if we just spent a whole lot of budget talks trying to get everybody to our ranking, so to speak, so.
So that was elected officials, so I mean, we're looking at a different scenario, but if we're above that right now, then.
What do you need?
What was it? Was it effective January? Or
January 19th.
January 19th? It's just, it's not internal, it's just posted for internal and external.
So you're just gonna.
We're just gonna,
We're not gonna enter.
we're gonna advertise for the.
Yeah,
That's
just
because
encourage
it's
internal.
that's because it's just.
Well, and the way I kind of
person.
explained to Tim is veterans preference says if you have a vacancy, you have to make it publicly known that it's available. If you were to have a clear standout and promote from within, like an assistant to a director or administrator, that's handled a little bit different. If you have multiple people that you want to consider and you're posting a vacancy, then it should be posted for everybody to know about.
That's not how we post all their other.
So the road guys, because they're all covered by the same union contract and they're all heavy equipment operators, we allow them to move locations within before we have a vacancy to advertise. I mean, there's sometimes where we shift the guys around from Springbrook to, we go 4 or 5 times around, and if we advertised every time for that, we'd be advertising for months on end.
The 26th by unincorporated population. So not too far. So I think it's competitive if you want to use the population metric, which I don't know if there's a lot of different metrics. You could look at number of bridges, number of miles of roads. I mean, it all kind of plays into it, but I think in the big picture, look, I think where their salary is at now is probably pretty competitive, so. The range, I don't know,
So are we looking from 73 to 80 or something like that, or
I'd say that's a little tight, I mean, I would probably say
70?
70 to 80.
I mean, it seems fair enough, but that, I guess I don't know.
Is
what-
that too tight, you think, 70 to 80 or no?
I think that's fine. I think.
For Clinton County, do you have a road superintendent? Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
yeah.
So, I mean, a little larger community, a little larger population.
We will larger pay.
5,000.
Yeah.
Not a
I
whole
would
lot.
think like, if you wanna do like 73 to 83 or something. You know, just depending.
Well, I don't know if we necessarily need to go above what the current pay rate is, if, you know, I guess Roger was here for 30 years or 28 years or whatever.
How do you know that if we get an applicant that don't have similar experience?
Again, you're starting a new job, so.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want my road foreman from Clinton County applying, so I could go with 80.
So-
Calling him, by the way, so.
I think 80 is
I
good.
think I
You're talking to him.
Keep it below the
He's not living in Jackson County, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I get what, you know, what Donna's saying, but you never know, if you get, let's say you get somebody from Jones or somewhere wants to move into Jackson County, but. I don't know, if something like happens, could we go above the 80?
We
Yeah.
need to advertise something, because if you're paying 50, you're gonna have a different pool of applicants and you're advertising for 80 or vice versa. So I think if you capped it out at the current 80,700, where you wanted to start is up to you. And then if something changes,
But if you had some like really super applicant with great experience, could
Then
you
you could
actually
come
go
back.
over the 87?
you just.
Or 80.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
Or could, yeah.
So basically establishing the salary range gives him the authority to interview and and all that stuff and kind of determine what pay rate he would like to.
I'm good at for the 80.
For some reason, I'm
Did I say that
I
already?
could get 85.
I'm thinking 83, so pretty good, 73 to 83, one thing.
No, it's out of our budget. I mean, we'd have to have a budget limit and everything.
I mean, I was thinking,
You said you didn't spend about $750,000 last.
Oh, we spent it. It's gone.
I think he does. live-
No, whatever, it's fine. Whatever you think is,
if you
I do think we're gonna have,
internal applicant.
we're gonna have some very good internal applications, so.
I would, yeah, I'm not opposed to either 70 to 80 or 73 to 83. Doesn't matter to me, upon qualification, you know. I would start at 70, yeah, we don't know.
Go 71 to 81, you're right where Roger's at now,
There
71
you
to
go.
81, that gives you 10 grand to. Assess qualifications, and if somebody comes in more than that, then you come back to the board and say, we want to give your guy the 85 he's making for you.
Easy.
Is that a suggestion?
He wouldn't make it out of the interview. No, I'm
I
doing
would
that.
recommend 71 to 81, just as the salary range that we advertise for.
I mean, that's a range, yeah.
Sold.
You need a motion on that?
Yeah,
Make a motion that we. Do the postings both internally and externally with a salary range of 71 to 81.
I'd say quick too,
we go with.
quick. What's the minimum date?
You wanna make sure it gets to the claim, hey.
It goes in the.
He already knows.
It'll hit print first thing
For the other.
next week, Wednesday. Their deadline's Friday, yeah, on the internet, social media, Indeed. They're making all those,
Okay, so what
all
would
the
be the
papers hit
deadline?
Wednesday.
What would be the 10th? So the deadline for apps will be the 10th.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second on the table to approve the posting and wage approval as discussed. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Like the guys in turn.
And what did you say the deadline was?
It'll be October 10th.
October
It's like a long
10th.
Well, it's gotta be 10 days. So, but it actually won't hit print until.
Think that's too
Wednesday
long?
Because,
Yeah, I wanted the minimum amount of time because I mean,
well, no,
So
because
it won't
it's
hit
the
the paper
26th,
till
it's gotta hit,
27th.
That's,
well, it won't hit the paper until, yeah, the 27th. But we normally still go 10 days, so you're just a little over 2 weeks. September.
it won't be a full 2 weeks to the 10th from
You
the.
Well,
close it on the 6th?
It'll hit It'll technically be advertised today, so I never count the day that I post it. So if you go 10 working days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. you
Can't
could
we
end
just
it
do
October 6th.
Friday the 13th? That's a
I
good day.
would do the 6th.
I'm fine with that. I mean, if you're fine with that, I mean, it's more than.
We're changing it?
October 6th instead of the 10th. Are you good with that?
Oh, wait, it ends on a Friday, you can take your lovely weekend and look at it.
October 6th, okay. And then do you have blank apps so I can
No, they can apply one.
have to apply online? Okay. Real quick on a construction update, so they started milling, thank you.
Thank you.
They started milling on 33rd Street today. Hopefully be paving yet this week. They broke the beam on the 49th Street Bridge, it broke good, so they're gonna start loosening, stripping forms, and then they're gonna pour the bridge rail. The 8th Street Bridge. That deck was poured on Friday. They'll probably end up breaking a beam here in a couple days and we'll get that bridge open. And they're gonna close the bridge east of Preston so they can start moving the crane in there. So we're gonna they're gonna move right from one day labor job to the next, so.
Okay,
Cool.
any questions? I have a question. The road going from Preston to Goose Lake, half ours, half yours. You recoated the whole southern half, south half of that with something, not just crack seal, but you coated the whole road with what?
It's called a rejuvenating fog seal, a GSB 88.
It is awesome. I mean, is it expensive?
It's
You know, I look at these newly blacktopped overlays. In 2 years, you're resealing all the cracks in, but that thing is just totally coated.
so that's part of our pavement preservation work that we do. And usually we try and hit newly overlaid asphalt overlaid roads somewhere in the 2 to 4 years of age.
Yeah.
And then we usually try and do it again in 8 to 10 years, and then we wouldn't do that. We'd be doing something different after that.
It just appears to be, I mean, the thing to do to me. I mean, it's smooth, it's not, got all the cracks and I don't know.
Well, so we crack seal any cracks ahead of time, and then it doesn't, I mean, it shouldn't really affect the ride. It's more to protect the surface from oxidation and weathering and that kind of
Well,
stuff.
it appeared to level everything. That's what it appeared to do.
It shouldn't level anything.
I don't know, but I'm just saying. I like that. I'm just quick curious.
Apparently it likes that road.
I had a question.
It's the road was smooth to begin with, so that
Yeah.
always helps.
Well, it's not that old, right? 4 or
Yeah.
5 years,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Ours is what, 2 years our half? Ours was done after, this Jackson County's half.
Are you talking about Miles or Goose Lake?
I'm talking from Preston to Goose Lake.
Oh, that one, yeah, okay, yeah.
So the Clinton County's half was.
And that one was that road, I was always worried, that got finished paved like in the end of November, like it was snowing and we were paving. But it's held up really well. That was a Matthew job.
I was impressed, I'd say that. Anyway, just had a question. Thanks, Todd. Okay, are there any visitors or citizens here today that would like to address the board? Here, they're seeing none. Tom, our Jackson County Area Tourism Director. And it looks like he brought his right hand man Steve with him.
Right and left.
You're competing with this.
Delegate. Hey, Don.
You betcha.
You're right, Mike. I was on that road last night. It is.
It was, I mean,
Yeah.
you notice that when you're traveling
You do,
6 or 55 with a bus.
especially when you came off.
But it is nice.
Some other ones that weren't as good, yeah. Well, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having us. We're brought Steve Tebby, my president, along with just give you an update on what's going on in tourism, and there's some exciting things happening. We'll start with the white sheet, and you can see one of the neatest things is the graph, the small graph that has at the top says grant application for DOT signage through Jackson County Welcome Center. We're in the process right now applying for a grant, working with the DOT on placement of the signage in Sebula to let people know where the Welcome Center is. These are the numbers now that we are a state welcome center. We keep track of, well, we've always kept track of the number of visitors, but this officially comes out from the state each month. And you'll see in June, which was the first month that we kept numbers for our welcome center, was right after we were designated a state welcome center. We had 274 visitors, in July 687, and in August 389. That compares to 2021, the last year that we were open was 577. We were closed for COVID in 2020, but I think the last year that we had anywhere close to the year to date of 1,350 was back in 2017. And that was for a whole, 2017 was for a whole 6-month period. And this 1,350 is only for 3 months, and we're going to be open for 12 months. So I think you'll agree we made a great move by moving that to Island City.
I guess it's a little skewed with the fact that there's a business there, so I mean. It's,
Absolutely, yeah, and that's great for both of us.
Right. No, I think it's a great venue and
Yeah.
works good for everybody concerned, yeah, we don't have the maintenance and the upkeep, and I think there's an open house coming up for our old welcome center, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And again, we're gonna apply for signage so we get even more people stopping to visit. On the backside of that is what we applied for co-op. Iowa Tourism each year offers their entities an opportunity. They go out and buy large sums of advertising and then dole it out to us, and we can buy it for a lot less than what we could buy it individually. We were fortunate enough to get 9 of these co-op opportunities, totaling $10,015. And this is the first year we've done this, but we went out to our members and said, if you would like to partner with us, you can take these co-ops. We will pay half of it and you pay half of it. So Island City Harbor, you'll see, has Midwest Living, Best of Midwest, Midwest Living Magazine, streaming ads, and the Moline billboard. And Maquoketa River Rental has taken ROVA, Illinois Country Living, and Our Wisconsin Magazine. What that does for us is we have budgeted $8,000 for that co-op, and that cuts our cost down to $6,482.50. Which is good for us and good for our members as well, because they can't buy this advertising for anywhere close to what they're getting here. So they're excited. We've got 2 other ones that I'm working with, a couple entities that they might want to partner with those. So our numbers may even go down from that. But at worst case scenario, we're still about a little over $1,500 under budget for our co-ops. Right below that is what we're in the process of doing right now. Until September 29th, the state tourism has a co-op program that's open. They have $200,000 that they've earmarked for grants for anyone in the state of Iowa. They also have another $100,000, so it's a total of $300,000 this year, and that other $100,000 is earmarked just for signage for welcome centers. Great for us.
Yeah.
And they say, if the welcome centers don't use all that $100,000, the rest of that money goes back into the pool to make the $200,000 higher. Well, we're thinking that the welcome centers are going to use most of that, if not all of that. So we're hoping to get part of that. But what we're applying for from Jackson County Tourism in partnership with a lot of our members is the tourism grant application. The panels that are listed are just the numbers that Lamar calls them. These are all in the Rockford area. They're all north and south of Rockford. And the first column you'll see, for example, panel 10, 373 has a weekly impression, 93,175 people. Total of those 10 signs Weekly impressions is 564,000. So in the 8 weeks that we're gonna be applying for a grant to pay for, we could potentially hit over 4.5 million people in the Rockford area, telling them what's going on in Jackson County. We have 10 signs. We originally started thinking, okay, we can fill those 10 signs with what's Jackson County got. But then we decided, let's throw that out to our partners in partnership with them and let them put Island City Harbor, Codfish Hollow Barnstormers, offshore resort. So not only people will see that there's something to do in Jackson County, but there's a lot of things to do in Jackson County. So we're going to be throwing that out. And again, for an 8-week program in the Rockford area for less than $1,000, we think we're going to have people clamoring for that. So that grant is in process right now. I'm writing that as we speak. And then below that, Jackson County Pro Rodeo, Blue Nine Climb Classic, Bellevue Heritage Days were all great successes. We had a hard time, and we still have a hard time. The Blue Nine Climb Classic, of course, a lot of them camp because they've got their dogs with them, and our hotels are very good about letting them keep their animals in the rooms with them too, but on a limited basis. But we filled up every campground in this area for the Blue Nine Classic and could use more. So those 3 were very successful. Jackson County Fair numbers were a little bit, I don't know if you've gotten a report on that, but with the heat and the storm on Friday night, those numbers were down a little bit. That's Mother Nature. That happens. You know, we had it great last year because the weather was perfect, but so that happens. Ski Bellevue had an incredible season this year. They said their numbers were down a little bit too, but they still had some great shows. And the Island City Days and Mactoberfest, as you know, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was here, and so and you know, we had some storms coming late, but those were very successful events, and we're proud to showcase those each and every year. The final thing I've got to show you is on the other sheet and it's called ITIP, and it's Iowa Travel Industry Partners. What has happened, and you have in the past been members of Eastern Iowa Tourism Association. That is the former 3-region, East, Central, and Western Iowa, the former way that we associate with the state tourism office. Those have gone by the wayside in favor of ITIP. ITIP is the speaking piece for the whole state. And what we found is in the past, we had all these different entities, and they had lobbyists for the restaurants. They had lobbyists for the hotels, for the casinos, for the beer and wine. They all had their own lobbyists. We decided that let's get a lobbyist that represents all of us. So that's what ITIP has done, is combined everybody to one speaking piece, of one common voice. I encourage you, we are members. Jackson County Tourism is a member of ITIP, and I encourage you guys to consider, just for your point of reference, you would be under a $500 cost to join ITIP. That's the exact same as what it was for ETA, Eastern Iowa Tourism. So strongly encourage you. We're putting a big push for the counties to join in, and I'd like you to strongly consider that being a part of ITIP. The benefits are listed there. I won't go through them all, and you're entitled to go to any ITIP meeting. We just got back from one in Pella about 3 weeks ago, and they talked a lot in that about how to successfully apply for a grant. So we get some good tips. We had a beautiful tour of Pella. Of course, you know, that's one of the great regions of Iowa. And more than that, we get an opportunity to rub elbows with our peers and really find out what's going on somewhere else, what's working, what's not working, and get some great ideas for us. So again, you're absolutely entitled to go to everything that they have. They have training sessions. They push what's going on in Iowa. You don't have to, I go to them. So,
Well, it's good networking for you, and then, you know,
Absolutely.
that's your business and that's your job, so.
absolutely. And we took, this is the first time I've had somebody, other than my president or my board go with me. We took, Delmer Development. They are the newest member of Jackson County Tourism. And we took, 3 of their members with us to introduce them, and they joined ITIP as well. So, there's some good things going on in tourism, not only in the state of Iowa, but especially in Jackson County.
They have their own lobbyists as well, right?
That's right.
And that's what's kind of cool. That's what we really felt. It was really kind of, because they kind of joined it all together, just had one.
They just put a survey out that ended last Friday for everyone to put what their priorities are, what they think is important for our lobbyists to be pushing at the next legislative session. One of the things that it always comes up every year is the school start date, and we always push for it after the state fair is over.
Yeah.
We like those tourists to come to the state fair.
Yeah.
So among other things, you know, there's always beer and wine issues, and there's the casino issues, so.
Well, yeah, we sure appreciate the update. The numbers look good, and yeah, I mean, I think the Welcome Center is working out great for us, and we do have some wonderful things in Jackson.
We really do. It's really, I was just talking to Tom out here. I says, you know, this is about the best deal I think I've ever seen. It's been,
You know, and it was a big weekend for the Bellevue Golf Club with their big cup tournament, and there's people there that I've never seen. They said, this is crazy view up here, you know, it's just
Yeah.
like, you can see forever.
It is something, yeah.
Yeah.
We have some
People
tremendous
don't
things
realize
going
that
on.
one now.
Yeah, Brenda's son got
So-
married Saturday, and the people came in from Massachusetts, and they stayed on the Minnow out at Island City Harbor for a week. It was their anniversary too. So they came out and shared for a week, and they could not believe the beauty of this area, and more importantly, the hospitality that everyone showed them.
Good.
Be proud of it.
Steve, do you have anything to do with the ATV ride this weekend?
We're not a part of that.
Okay.
Exactly. Is this the one that's at,
So I would just mention both of them. So there's one that's riding for Together We Build,
oh, yes.
starting at the.
No, that was
That's
October
It's
14th.
October.
That's October.
14th.
Yeah, okay.
Hospice is this.
Hospice is this
Yeah, it
weekend,
is, that's
starting
right,
at
it is.
offshore, yeah.
Yeah, we are part of that, yeah.
And October
Kind of get
14th
away
is,
from
Offshores and
Is-
together. with the-
Yeah, and that's gonna be a nice ride. We're gonna run down south with this one.
Yeah.
Actually going down towards Preston, down through that valley, down through there, so it should be
so,
good.
all good, all good.
Yeah, I
Those
thought your
boys
trip-
are help calm down the gravel roads a little bit.
Oh.
They're a bit dusty. right
Yeah,
now.
well,
And you know, I can't say enough about that reclaiming project that's going on within the county. I just think that is the neatest thing. I mean, now they got
It
some.
made
rain.
quite a difference. I mean, it's also not only reconstructing a road, but it's slowing people down a little bit.
It is, it is.
I
It
mean,
is.
it's gonna be necessary to slow down.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Me included.
Overdue.
Yeah.
It was overdue, I'll say that. Well, I appreciate it, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah,
your
have a good day.
You bet, you too.
All right, next on our agenda is Brianna Kurt, our Jackson County Veterans Affairs. Official, what's the official link?
Good morning, Administrator.
Administrator, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's either director, administrator, or president, or.
Administrator.
Good morning.
All right, this quick update for you guys. In the month of August, we filed a total of 26 claims. 21 of those were either new or supplemental, DIC, or healthcare claims. 5 were supporting documentation, requested information, or intent to files. We only had 9 claims that were decided. So that leaves us with 96 open claims yet for Jackson County. The most recent numbers released are, there's 394 Jackson County families receiving a total of $692,930 in compensation, pension, or DIC benefits, which is an overall increase of one veteran and $8,834 since July. Debbie is back from her maternity leave. So starting October 4th, she'll be doing the Bellevue outreach at the Legion on the first Wednesday of every month. And her normal office hours will be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and half days on Thursdays. Lucy passed her initial national accreditation and her trip training. So now we just have to wait on getting her number from the OGC office before she can apply for her PIV card. And the PIV card gives you access to veterans claims files so she can see things, and if they call and have questions, then she can look them up and let them know where things are. And then she can also apply for cross accreditation with other service organizations at that time as well. Our next home base Iowa meeting will be on September 27th. We'll discuss the incentive package that we hope to offer current veterans and the incoming veterans of Jackson County. And then fall school is October 9th through the 12th, and Debbie and I are both gonna go. Lucy's not gonna go, so the office will only be open from 10:30 to 4:30 that week. Any questions?
No,
So
it's
you're
good.
doing a good job.
Comments? You want to comment?
Is it a good one?
Well, you've got to take it either way, right?
Yes.
I don't want things to swell, you know.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman approach me who was a 30-year veteran of the Navy,
Uh-huh,
28 years as a SEAL,
yeah,
and 6 more as a civilian working for the government. And he said he had all good things to say about you, what you're doing in that department.
well, that's good. I know who you're talking about. That's
Yeah,
good.
no,
He's a nice guy.
he was really impressed with the way you have things in order and the way you're doing it. So I just wanted to pass that along. You like to hear good things once in a while.
I do.
If I hear something bad, I'll let you know, but.
Yes, do that. Not publicly.
No, he had all good things to say and appreciate that, yeah.
Well, good.
And I thank him for that. You know, bringing it forward, people don't normally. You know,
Oh, you're
Great.
great, thanks. always.
Yes, it's nice to hear the good things.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Thanks, Brianna. Keep up the good work.
Lisa, would you like to?
I can. This morning, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the September 2023 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers.
So move.
Second,
Have a motion second, to approve the minutes of September 2023 board proceedings as written. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I gave you a copy of the Jackson County Voting System Security Policy. I need a motion this morning to approve that policy, which is dated 9/19/23. It is a confidential policy, so I will be asking for your copies back after the meeting. And I do need a motion to
significant
approve.
changes, or is this just recertifying, or
All I had to do was put new names in and take some names out.
so moved?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Jackson County Voting System Security Policy dated 9/19/2023. As presented, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
That's what you come over.
So I also need a motion to approve resolution number 991-09-19-2023 to disperse $66,084.01 for fiscal year 2023 and federal revenue collected from leased properties along the Mississippi. And the reason why you're gonna say, we just did this, yes, we did. That was for fiscal year 2022. They were late in making the payments, and honestly, the payments went to another county. So we had to wait to get the money back before we could, it got dispersed to another county. So, yeah, so anyway, that's why the one before was late. This one seemed a little early, but we just needed to disperse those funds as we've received them.
So when you say disperse, where does that go? And what fund are we talking here?
According to the resolution, Bellevue Community School District receives $21,477.30. Easton Valley receives $21,477.30. Jackson County Secondary Roads receives $16,521. The Bellevue Fire Department receives $3,304.21. The Seville Fire Department receives $1,652.10. The Miles Benefited Fire District also receives $1,652.10 for a total of $66,084.01.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve resolution 991-09-19-2023 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I do remember after the meeting last week, I told you that we would be driving to Des Moines for a meeting that was held on Wednesday of last week. Specifically, this meeting dealt with the House File 718. 718. And Shelley and I were in attendance to that meeting. I believe it was recorded, and I don't know if they've released that yet. They have released it?
The slides are on.
Okay, so they've released the slides, but I don't know, have they released the video? Honestly,
I
I would tell
emailed her
you,
and she said she was gonna send it when it was available. so-
yeah, I was gonna say it was a very good meeting. There was a lot of, as if you watch the meeting, you'll notice the frustration and a lot of questions
Yeah, I believe it.
in the room concerning this House file and how it's going to affect county government. But one of the things that Shelley and I did is we came back and we've been working on what I would call our time frame for the budget. We're gonna try and back everything up probably at least a month. And this is really gonna confuse some people, but we have to do this. We have to start our budget process a lot easier. This is what we started with. You can see all the red. We're gonna change some things. So I'd kind of like maybe a direction. I thought that the budget process last year, so this is what
This is good though.
we're attempting to do. Which means that we're gonna start sending out budget sheets now. Normally, we would wait.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
People I mean, they have a tendency you know how that works? You have a tendency to wait till the last 3 weeks and then turn it in, so.
So we're gonna hammer this because we have some very hardcore timeframes. I mean, part of this House file, what it did is we now have to do this mailing to all property owners in Jackson County. And that'll have to include the city's tax levy, it'll include the school's tax levy and the county's tax levy. This is an unfunded mandate. It's something that we're gonna have to pay for. I am not gonna have my employees stuff all of these envelopes, so we will be outsourcing this. I do not know what the cost is, but to get it done in the time frame, we have 5 days to get this done. So I talk about drop dead dates. I would like to have March 10th of 2024 is our drop dead date, that we have to have our budget pretty well known by then, have somewhat of a levy decided, because by the 15th of March and between the 15th and the 20th of March, we have to have these notices. Now, there's a little bit of confusion if the notices have to be sent out, or if we at least have to get them to the outsourced printer, and they'll have to turn that around relatively fast. But keep in mind, 99 counties are gonna have to do this. I'm not sure how all of these outside sourcing companies are gonna handle this load, but we got 5 days and we need to make this a priority. We have to have a first public hearing, which cannot be during a Board of Supervisors meeting. It has to be a meeting on its own. So
And
we'll
that
have to
notice
schedule.
For that public hearing has to be in that letter.
Yeah, so this is why and you know what, Ted Nelson from the Department of Management, he said, I know you have a tight time frame here. He's very well aware of it. We're gonna be looking for some guidance from the Department of Management. But in order for us to meet all of those deadlines, we need to back up our budget process a little bit. One of the things that kind of concerns me a little bit, and we did put this in the notice here, the memo, is that the comp board is meeting on November 20th.
Did they have that in their schedule?
Well, we went back and looked at their minutes from last
Okay.
meeting, and that's when they set the meeting.
Okay,
Now, if they could meet a little bit earlier, that would be fine, but we've worked around that, knowing that this is the date that they set from last year. We're gonna work with that date, because that's always the confusing part of the budget process, is salaries. So trying to get the comp board to meet so we can give the information to Becky, she puts it in her spreadsheet, and that figures all the FICA and IBRs and such. So we're gonna try and do this as fast as we can and as efficient as we can. The other thing I think we need to talk about are outside agencies. Shelley and I kind of come up with we would like your approval. We've kind of come up with a sheet that we would like these outside agencies, when Luann is trying to schedule these people to come and visit with you, we would like to have a sheet emailed to us so we know that this agency is asking for this amount of money and why. It seems kind of crazy, but I think that as the budget tightens up, I think you're gonna have to make some decisions. And I think that,
And that way, all of the supervisors all have the same. Have all the information on the same sheet.
I like it.
Instead of,
Any way that we can condense it and organize, you know, I go through 15 different papers here when they all come in and they all got these little different
They're all
type
different.
ways of doing it.
yeah,
And then we're, you know, and you go back through that and you're going, did we talk about this one? Did we talk?
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get stuff maybe.
We
more-
should have maybe even some check boxes on there that we reviewed it and then maybe we approved X amount of dollars and on whatever date and yeah.
we're looking for any.
That way we go back, we know exactly what we did.
Yeah.
And exactly what time, you know, if you put a couple different columns in it and say, hey, this is when it was presented. This is what we talked about, and then when we did approve X amount of dollars, then it's documented.
Well, you know, and as they come in to present, you know, the summary sheet it's kind of nice because it's uniform. We had people come in with 1 or 2 page requests. We had people come in with 10 or 15 page. We had binders coming in and, you know, it's hard
Yeah,
to
but then
decide.
they come in and say, well,
exactly,
this and this,
you know.
this, well, that ain't right.
I agree. I mean, it is a little bit confusing,
We
so we're
don't need all
trying
that
to.
background information. We just need to know exactly.
Yeah, what, who, what, or where, yeah, I get it.
So anyway,
But question.
go ahead, no, go ahead.
I see here that Tuesday, April 26th, you have public hearing and final adoption of our 25 budget. I thought all budgets had to be done by March 31st. Is that a
15th.
change now or?
They moved it back to April 30th. All budgets are now April 30th. Before it was just the school budgets that were April 30th. Now the state has, because of this mandate, they've moved all of the budget deadlines to April 30th.
Okay,
You're questioning the April 16th?
well, just the April, I was thought,
Budget,
the
yeah,
city county
well,
budgets all had to be done by
Yeah, no,
March
this was a
31st.
change, yeah. it
Okay,
showed
that's
it
right.
was a change.
Not that,
It draws it out.
not that we
Last
wanna
year,
wait.
there was, last year they gave us grace period because
Yes,
of
Yeah.
the, whatever, I
the
forget.
reason why we
Change
chose
the
April
short.
16th as our target date is just in case. I like a plan B.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if for some reason something doesn't get published correctly, we made it April 16th, so we had time
Yep.
to republish. And so that's why we've kind of said, okay, we've got our plan B in case something happens. So our first date is, go ahead, Sean.
There's a spot yellow with a question mark.
Mhm.
That's the date that we need, that you would need to set the separate public hearing. So at the time of, on March 12th, once you set the budget or set the time for the first budget hearing, we need to know when that is so that we can include that in the,
Right.
First
in
page.
that letter.
Right.
So if you have an idea, we can put that in the,
We can
Well, we
discuss
won't
that.
know until that,
Yeah.
yeah.
until closer to then.
I mean, I would like to,
Just send
yeah,
up
I
your-
would like to have through the budget by
You gotta have
middle of
the
March,
date.
because it
Well-
just saves X more weeks of headaches.
Let's,
and-
you know,
We'll
the
need it
difference this
closer to
year.
March,
Pain in my
but
stomach.
just.
Well, you gotta have that
Ulcers.
date in your mailing you're sending out, right?
That's right. So we will talk about that.
It's gotta be how many days after that.
And like I said, this has to be a
Yes.
separate meeting. It cannot be part
Right.
of this meeting. So, I mean, we've got some discussion, but I think the one thing is trying to make sure that we are dotting our i's, crossing our t's. And the other thing that we're going to be requesting from our people that are submitting budgets is at the time of budget talks, and you're going to be visiting with department heads. So we can print all of these different reports. We're going to print one extra report. And we're going to give it to them at the time they're gonna come in and present, so everybody's on the same page. So I don't want anybody coming in with their colored Excel spreadsheets and such, because that was the confusing part. To me, it seemed very confusing, so we would like everybody to present on the same information that you're looking at. And we're going to be requesting that.
Is this, would it be out of line to ask for have another column or two on there that says prior 2 years, like last year and prior year before that?
On which forms?
Like on the one that they get, like if we're gonna check off that it was presented, this was their ask. This was their budget last year, this was their budget before.
I can only do that if we print them on the Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah,
But if you're putting it on 8.5 by 11 paper,
well,
That's what we
that's,
call the vision.
yeah,
That's the vision form.
yes.
Then there's. the
that's not
actual-
talking, that's not
That's the
coming.
colored form. And that's the problem with what happened
Yeah.
last year,
Okay.
is you had,
Because the
People
departments
But
are
see,
bringing in their
them other
spreadsheets.
departments are not on there. They're separate.
Correct.
Yeah, this.
You mean the outside agencies?
Yeah, outside agencies, yeah, they're not on that. They're not on them.
They're,
sheets.
they're embedded in there. They are
Right.
there, but they're
Yeah.
embedded in. Yes.
So I'm just trying to make this form complete to say, you know, I get a vision of what percentage we increased or decreased, or whatever it might be, you know. Why did we?
Well, on those worksheets.
Yeah.
the Increase should be on there.
Yeah, I get it, but the outside agency is the only thing I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's.
When
on
they
there,
get
it's
this
just buried.
Huh?
It's buried on the worksheet.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to look at something and see it without,
That's why we're hoping that this form that we mail
Yeah.
out to these outside agencies to help you to know, oh, maybe we should do a line item. I will talk about that later.
yeah.
But
Maybe
do
we
you have
could
any other
highlight.
suggestions or any other direction you would like Shelley and I to go?
I guess, you know, at this point, we're ready to take your recommendation, how you guys want to do it. You've been very good
I
about
like how this
putting it
sounds.
together, and I like this form thing for outside agencies, so they're all the same. I like that a lot.
We put a lot of thought into this, you know what, we've done a lot of driving, and so we've had a lot of time to talk about this. And sorry, we do talk about work as we're driving, so you know, we've had 6 hours to talk about
You
this.
could do that.
So, yeah, but we think this is probably best for you.
The other
hopefully
thing
us
was, I had, when I sent out spreadsheets in the past few years, I included a spreadsheet that had budget notes on it. Most departments did not use that. Some of them did, some of them very diligently. So my thought was to just, when I send out the budget worksheets, include that spreadsheet for the budget notes,
Mhm,
and then they can put on that sheet any information that they want you to know.
I agree.
Good.
I'm going to stress that they put as much information on that as they can.
Or they may not be considered.
If
So
I could
guess-
say that, I would.
I don't wanna hold your meeting up anymore. Basically, what I'm gonna say is I'll have Luann start scheduling these outside agencies with this form, and we'll move forward and see what happens.
Oh, good.
I think that could potentially be, depending on if there's any action I do have on my agenda also. I know that, I think John is coming today, and so, we'll see what John has to tell us.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
Lori? Our Jackson County zoning administrator. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
And here's
And
Lori,
we
brought her
have-
sidekick Ruth with.
Psychic Ruth. She's
morning.
the best psychic ever, just so you guys know that. So, I'm gonna request that what we had on the agenda. That if we could do a work session. I really
Oh,
have concerns.
I will
I
tell
guess
you
we have
that
something to
in reflection of the last week and stuff, and thinking about some of the changes being proposed, I'm really kind of being unsettled or to all of a sudden going from being the most expensive place around to do business in Hanover County.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with that, so.
That's, I agree with that, and I want us all to feel comfortable. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
we
have,
exchanged a few emails and I think
Yeah.
both sides had some good suggestions. So yeah, I think we should probably look at it and
yes,
justify what we're doing,
could we have a work session next week?
probably.
Sure.
All right, so we can speed
Luann
this,
said yes.
we can speed this up and you can get on to your next one, but I'm not
Appreciate
comfortable and I'm sure you guys aren't either.
Yeah.
And just, I know I can talk about updates in my office. I'll do that real quick. John Brackey and I went for a little ride yesterday. And he is working on some ideas, some thoughts, and he and I,
Are we talking nuisance here now?
yeah,
Alright.
Leisure Lake, sorry.
It's all right.
But yeah, we went for a ride in Leisure Lake and,
We did too.
good, good. I don't know if you want to discuss that now or if we should wait.
No,
Okay.
that's not on our agenda. so-
Okay, well, I know my department is,
Yeah.
updates, so I didn't know if that fell under that blanket, but anyway, so we're working on that and,
Appreciate it.
and a few other fires.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just let me know what time it is the next week.
Lucille, that was the shortest time you ever met.
Well, you let me come back.
Just saying,
But-
broke a record.
Thank
But for
you.
the record, she just didn't give it a second, we'll talk later.
That's pretty much was the goal here. Thank you so much.
All right,
Yeah, I joke a little
the
bit.
precedence has been set.
All right. Luann, would you like to,
First we let,
oh yeah, they're both here, huh?
Yeah.
Would you like to yield?
Sure.
All right, so we will take Jack, Willie and Lynn Bopes, our Jackson County Coordinator of Disability Services. Good morning. Good for rainy day, huh?
Yes, it is. It is. And so once again, we attended the monthly regional governing board meeting, as did Nan. And hopefully you didn't get kicked out this time.
I did not. I
Not
did
at
the
all.
Whole meeting,
Perfect.
once she let me in.
Yeah. It was a good day. I guess the first point of information is what the current projection is for the ending fund balance for fiscal year 23. If you remember, our benchmark is 20%. Yesterday, David Farmer presented 31.69, so about 32%. That might still go down a little bit, although I think most of the claims are in for FY 23. So again, as a reminder, what that means, this does not get finalized until after December 1st. December 1st is the date by which the regions have to submit a report to HHS, Health and Human Services, for their activities during the previous fiscal year, and also the accounting from the region is submitted to the state by that date. So after that, they take a look at it and determine the final percentage, but David's thinking it'll be around 31%.
Yeah. And I believe Lori sent that email out last night or. yesterday.
Oh, did she send one out? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, the 11% gonna go back to Department of Health, or where does that go?
Well, what actually happens is, once it's determined how far over a region is over, then the third quarter and fourth quarter of necessary payment to that region for this current fiscal year would be reduced. So, or eliminated, yes.
depending on the amount.
Right, right. Our payment that the quarterly payment is 2 million. Oh, I didn't bring that. It's right around 2.9 million.
Yeah, it's almost 3 million.
Yeah. And so,
We will get that in October,
mhm,
but then after, like Lynn said, after they finalize the reports and stuff in December, then we'll decide that probably won't get anything in April or in January.
well,
And the next year, what is the fund balance supposed to be next year?
5% by June 30th of 2024. So it's this current fiscal year. We have to get it down.
So the 32%, that's actually lower than they were thinking, because last time you guys were here, you were thinking it was around 50%.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
So
it's
that's
considerably lower.
actually-
This is a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had some more
So-
bills come in.
Right, right. So no, this is a good thing. We got much closer to that 20% benchmark than I was reporting every month until this month.
right.
I know Robert Young yesterday said they had considerable carryover bills after the end of the fiscal year that they were going to be reducing their ending balance as well.
Yeah, so it could go down just a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I was gonna mention to the board was previously, we had anticipated that we would be bringing the fourth amendment to the 2080 agreement for the mental health region to each individual county. For each individual county member to approve the details of that fourth amendment. if you remember, it got taken off of the agenda at the last minute in August. And then Lori had some conversations with HHS about some issues that Ken Beck, the governing board's chair, had raised with wording. And the outcome, in addition to addressing some of those questions, HHS has now come out and said the amendments to the 2080 agreements do not require each individual member county of the region to vote on that and approve it. So the way it's written now, that authorization to approve this fourth amendment sits with the regional governing board only, with the expectation that currently each county in our region is represented on the governing board. And that will likely remain because we can have each county have a representative and still be below that 50% membership threshold of elected officials. Because we have a 12-person governing board. So we should not have a concern about that. So the expectation is that the governing board members who represent all 5 individual counties will take that information back to their respective board members.
We discussed that quite a bit yesterday, because I said, you know, each of us could go back to our boards. But yesterday, and then he said, well, we need to take action on this today. And I said, well, we're not gonna meet with them till tomorrow. So it's a little after the fact, but like Lynn said, HHS said that this is the way it had to be. And so we had to take action on it yesterday. But it's not gonna really change anything. We'll still have representation and we'll still be able to report back to you what we're doing.
The other thing that this board might have an interest in is a conversation included in the 2080 as well, is that the chair and co-chair and secretary of the region's governing board are to be elected officials from one of the member counties of the region. Ken Beck felt pretty strongly about that, and you guys heard the same conversation. His concern is that he feels that if any constituents in the 5 counties have issues with anything that's going on within the mental health region, it's that elected official that's probably going to be the one that is going to be contacted and concerns expressed to them. So he felt those individuals needed to have the leadership of the governing board. Keeping in mind that at the state level, I think the state is really changing the focus from the regions being driven by the individual member counties, but more so by the stakeholders. So either the people receiving services, relatives or interested parties of people receiving services, or the providers. And that's why actually we have 12 members and only 5 of them now are from counties. So.
Well, them are on the ground boots, you know, in the mud, I guess, and they're better to recommend or, you know, what we
And we
need.
still-
Maybe some changes are needed.
We still do have 2 vacancies on the governing board. And the adult and the children's advisory committees are meeting in October. And hopefully at that time, we will be able to appoint people to those 2 boards. Or to the board from those 2 entities.
I guess the only other thing I was going to mention was a couple of details about the region's crisis system. Just there's kind of a very favorable number referencing Jackson County. And if you remember, I've talked a little bit about the co-responder, that person who's available to law enforcement that has a background in knowing how to work with an individual in crisis. There were 110 calls handled by co-responders between the 5 counties. 62 of those were out of Jackson County.
We're good.
Now,
Coverage.
right. One of the reasons that number is so high is that Jackson County law enforcement, and when I say that, I'm referring not just to the sheriff's office, but also the municipal police departments as well, are utilizing the co-responder, Brianna, to not only go out when they get a call that might involve somebody having a crisis, but also to make contact while she's here, and currently she's here 2 days a week, although it's sounding like we're getting pretty close to her maybe being full-time, which in her case is 4 days a week. But while she's here, her time is being spent, besides actually responding to specific calls, just meeting with people on the street. People that law enforcement are familiar with, that emergency response are familiar with, so they're calling that community policing, which I know is also a piece of what is often a part of law enforcement co-responder models in other communities, including bigger cities. So, yeah, we're getting some good coverage.
Yeah, good.
Otherwise, I don't really have much else.
We did approve Todd Novak from the peer support out of DeWitt, now out of Clinton. We did approve him going to a conference and a retreat in Texas. We have done that in the past, provided some funding for those to go. And so he's going to be going down to that. And other than that,
And this is Life Connections Peer Recovery Services is who Todd is associated with. So they still have their peer respite house in DeWitt. They have 5 beds where people can go up to 7 days if they're having a crisis and just need a place to kind of get away from things for a short period of time. Run totally by peers. There's no mental health professionals, no clinical services available while the person is there. But what he did move out of DeWitt to Clinton is the drop-in center, where it's open. They're actually open 7 days a week. They've got some pretty good coverage for a program like that. And so they moved it to a more populated area.
and Richard Whitaker. He always has something to say at the end of the meeting, but they are moving their facility that they have now to a bigger facility out by Duck Creek. And 11th of November,
I think it is, yeah.
I think that's when the open house is, and everyone is invited to attend and see what their services are going to be and their new office space.
So that is about it. I think you guys have any questions? Lynn, do you have anything you can think you want to add?
No, I was impressed with our numbers from Brianna covering versus the other counties.
Yeah.
I was thrilled that to see that we were really getting the service that we need.
Law enforcement has obviously really embraced the availability of somebody to them when she's here. And so just, I guess, to finalize the office at the Penrose Annex that I was hounding you guys about on a Tuesday a few weeks ago. It's functional. Brianna was over there last week a day for part of a day. And so I think it's going to get some good use, not necessarily just from her, but just having an extra space to use. So I do appreciate that. And yeah.
No, we appreciate them using it. When you have a tool that works, let's use it, you know.
Well, we're fortunate, the sheriff's department and the police department
Are
have
willing
attended
to
all. the
Embracing
trainings that
the fact
They
that
know
they have.
what's available and how to get it,
Right.
and that's really, really important.
Yeah, sometimes you blow that off and you don't realize how important it is, but.
Right. I do think the governing board and the management team will probably be going through some kind of strategic planning here within the next 6 months, probably. There are so many unknowns at the state level, but also internally, I think one thing the vibe that we're getting from the state is they want everybody to look the same and do their job the same. And while we all do it similarly in our 5 counties, there are still small details that admittedly, I might make a decision from a little different perspective than another person in one of the other 4 counties. I think we have to look at some of that internal organization and
But one don't fit all, you know, so it's,
That's what's hard. I mean,
right.
you know.
it don't get any less complicated, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's not going to either. I got the distinct feelings.
Oh,
Things that
exactly.
can throw a person into an upsetting situation, you know, they can't find a ride. Well, Clinton
Right.
County may have taxis. You know, in the city of Clinton, we don't have taxis necessary, you know.
Transportation is a
yeah.
huge
You know?
issue all over the state.
It
Right,
has been forever and
Yeah.
probably will be
Yeah,
right, but
forever.
you know, just
Especially in rural
little things,
communities, you know.
yeah.
But you're right,
Things
those are
like
the
that
little
that
things that,
Can put somebody over the edge that,
right. You know, we had a situation where someone went out to the university for an appointment and a ride was arranged and then the ride wasn't there when the appointment was over. So fortunately, the person had some resources and could make some calls and get some help in figuring out how the person was gonna return from Iowa City. Yeah, you're right, so those things. Yeah, but it
Well-
does sound like there'll be some changes at the state level.
Why wouldn't there be?
Well, you know, one of the things that I brought up yesterday is that. Like the 2080. The Health and Human Service Council, it's not even brought to us. Some of these things, you know, I'm thinking that. The council should have some forewarning or some information on what HHS is proposing. The council is supposed to act and a lot of it was totally new to me and that upset me.
Well, we sure appreciate what you're both doing and taking part in it, you know, I mean, it's one of them things, again, I guess, it never gets less complicated, so it's. So you're still-
That's true.
But the need continues to,
Yeah,
increase.
we appreciate it very
Yeah,
much.
you bet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
All right, Luann, we're gonna ask you, to see if you're available.
All right, good, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Calendar this morning. 11 o'clock this morning, we have a work session to discuss maintenance department staffing. 5 o'clock tonight is a conservation board meeting in South Sebula Lakes. Lynn usually goes to those. At 6 o'clock is Jackson County Economic Alliance meeting for Don. And at 7 o'clock is a Board of Health meeting for Nin. Wednesday, September 20th, I added to your calendars, the Trump team event is gonna be out at the fairgrounds. Doors open at 10 o'clock. I think they said the speech is gonna be at 1 o'clock. Thursday, September 21st at 6 p.m. is Limestone Bluffs RC&D. Their regular meeting followed by their annual meeting. That's gonna be by Zoom only, and Don will be attending that, I think, although I think the other ones can go if you want to attend that meeting. It's for everyone. Friday, September 22nd at 7 a.m. is Macokota Leadership Team meeting by Zoom for Don. Monday, September 25th at 4 p.m. is an Early Childhood Iowa Council meeting in DeWitt or by Zoom for Jack and Fernanda, she wants to go to that. And our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, September 26th at 9 a.m.
Wednesday, I have on my calendar for some reason, ECIA council meeting, is there a council meeting or something?
That would be the regular date, but they moved it.
Okay, so I can get rid of that.
You can get rid of that.
Uh-huh.
It should have on your calendar where they moved it to on your online calendar. It should say where they moved it to. Why I know that they moved it.
And on the calendar, the annual meeting was last Thursday. That was the one up at.
The one at
In
in Cascade.
That was, everybody's invited. It was a very good barbecue. So, just saying.
All right, anything else for me?
Don't think so.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, any other boards or commissions? I guess we had an RTA meeting and everything's going a little better, the way it sounded.
Yeah.
Things are progressing with the new software somewhat. One glitch leads to another. But they tend to realize that they're probably not gonna get all glitches ironed out. But it's better, and they're proceeding with, again, starting interviews. I forgot what they said, as far as their director up there for Kelly's position, so. I did have a waste authority meeting yesterday. Everything is running smoothly at the landfill, if you will, or I guess not the landfill, the transfer station, we should call it, but their office turned out really nice. You got a meeting room, office and a bathroom, and they're waiting for internet and phone hooked up there, and he'll move out from the actual scale building over to there, the director. And we were actually lucky to get our name on a list for a new truck, so. If we weren't a prior customer, we wouldn't even get on the list, so now we're on the waiting list. I don't know if I have any other.
We're gonna talk yours then, or?
Well, just also hitting with the RTA, they're looking for drivers. Basically, we.
Yeah, we should
talked
mention
about
that.
In the past, but they are looking for drivers.
They're very flexible, yeah.
We're willing to train.
Yep, willing to train, willing to help you get your appropriate licensures or whatever as needed for that. Some need a class A CDL and some just need a chauffeurs with 16 passenger or less, I believe it is. Something like that. My other was 7th Judicial, we met. They've gone ahead and gone forward with all the changes or working on the changes from the state, so we're more of a. We don't necessarily control them anymore, it's all gone to the state level and they keep us abreast of what's going on, but. They're moving forward, they are trying to get their high risk housing going. They got some officers hired for that they'll actually be true officers, they go through the academy. And stuff like that, so they're moving forward with that.
This last week, Limestone Bluffs RC&D had their annual banquet, annual meeting over at, in Cascade. That was more of a social event, talked about a few little things, but, it was a nice get together, kind of, you know, you going. And Limestone Bluffs RC&D last Thursday, I did meet in Guyersville, talking about with Water Management Authority. We're still in the process of ironing out the next agreement. And who governs who pays what and all that kind of stuff. We got a good structure and framework for that, collaboration between those two organizations, so that's proceeding well. And, with the Water Management Authority, people will notice around as you cross rivers and creeks and streams, that there'll be signage talking, kind of delineating where the watershed is. So you know when you go into the Makoko watershed and when you're coming out, just a few of those things will be going up, and, we're looking at where we want to go in the next 5 years or so with the Water Management Authority. So a lot of things going on. It's kind of exciting.
Together we build, also I forgot, we met last night. Their project is coming along quite nicely. If you go down by the fairgrounds, they're actually getting windows and doors in. They've washed the outside of the building last Friday. They've had units set up on the roof and going. I think they're still waiting to set one more unit up there. They're actually looking at possibly being able to book their hall the first part of the year, so kind of doing
Nice.
final punches into November to December and opening up.
And the extension moving out that early too, or moving into there?
I'm assuming as soon as the building gets done, they'll.
Well, I guess the other building
they'll
was
be
supposed to
headed
have
that
a
way.
December date, but you know, with the expansion and whatnot,
Right.
I think that's pushed back a couple months, but.
Right, but they still have fundraising going on, so they're still, Together
Yeah.
We Build are still selling. Kind of the block tiles.
Did the appliance raffle was that over? Is that?
Yeah,
over?
yeah,
Okay, I
that
didn't hear
was
it.
done.
Evidently,
Yeah, I didn't bring my trailer, so
I didn't either.
hopefully they don't have anybody working on the roof.
So.
Everything
who won, you know?
fairground.
We don't know all the winners,
That's fine.
2 of them were. Sold, I want to say by Jack, sold 2 of the winning tickets. Was that you that sold?
Tim,
And Will Cornelius sold
Will
one.
Cornelius is.
His
His wife spoke.
yeah,
Won
won,
something and.
won the 3rd place prize, I
Yeah.
believe.
And. She used to work for us. They live out on the road going to, yeah. Huh?
Is it Kingsley?
Huh?
Kingsley?
Yes. Tim Kinsley, he and his wife won the stove and microwave.
Nice.
Yep. And
I think two of the prizes were won by some of
I can't say that
Cornelius's
last.
family.
Where are we at?
The first place winner
Camacho? Juan?
was the first
Juan-
place
Juan
winner,
Camacho.
which was a complete kitchen.
Nice.
Okay, any other reports or any report to the board this morning? We have a work session here at 10:30 or 10:40 is scheduled for discuss the hay cap lease agreement a little bit. Otherwise,
To approve, to adjourn,
approve the adjournment.
approve the adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion to adjourn, yeah.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.